Hello, my name is Laura Uplinger, and I am the Vice President of the Brazilian Association for Prenatal Education, Perinatal Education. It's called ANEP Brazil. I'm also on the Board of Directors of OMAEP, a world organization that federates all the ANEPs. And I'm here today to tell you about a great opportunity, a great friend of a pregnant woman, an opportunity she has several times a day to connect, to partake communion with the universe. And of course, it's for everybody also, everybody else. But let's today concentrate on this pregnant mother. She has to eat several times a day. And no matter what she eats, this moment is a moment of great magic. She is eating a fruit, let's say. Let's say in Brazil it would be a mango, perhaps an apple in the US, perhaps in France a peach. But that fruit has a special energy. That fruit has a special composition of air, of water, of fire, of earth. And it will feed in her not just a physical hunger, other hungers. And this is what I'm here to explain today. When we eat, it can become a yoga. It can become a yoga because, let's say, this fruit, let's take the peach, let's go to France. Eating a peach, it's the beginning of summer, and they are delightful. First, I will breathe with that food in my mouth, that peach, and I will sense the flavor. As I breathe, I already have, as if the mouth was a first stomach, I already have a level of connection with my body of energy, the etheric body, they say in the Theosophical Society. This body of energy, and this is how we feel satiated. We breathe, we were hungry, and then we feel the flavor. So not only with the food still in the mouth, still when I am chewing, I will feed my etheric body. I will also feel grateful for the taste, for the deliciousness of this fruit. And this gratefulness goes a long way because the peach is ceasing to be a peach and will become me. I am offering that fruit a piece of adventure in the human life. That fruit will help me walk, talk, think, feel, love my baby. This is big. For those of you who are used to meditate, you will find a connection. I am feeling that fruit surrendering its last flavor in my mouth. It will inspire me. It delights me. I am thankful. I am feeding my own emotional body. And then I can also think the shape of a peach, its color. It has much more water than an apple. It has more fire, apparently, than other fruits would be less yellowish, less orangey. And then by thinking about the compositions, by thinking about the vitamins and the minerals, salts, I'm feeding my nourishing, my intellectual body. How did that peach come to my plate? How was it chosen in the field, in the orchard, with all the other peach trees? How come I chose that one at the supermarket? Or perhaps in my backyard? How do fruits travel to go to people's plates? It's a very delicate transportation. As I am thinking, and I'm just giving some examples here, as I am thinking, where is this peach coming from? And perhaps even remembering when it was just a seed, before it even was a peach tree, it already had sensors to capture from the universe specific elements that will help it grow, develop into a tree. And then comes the flower season, and then comes the fruit season. And each peach in its turn has its own nucleus, its own seed to have its own pit to give a possibility for other peach trees to grow. This is an amazing cycle. How many nights, how many evenings, how many stars, starry skies, how many sunrises, how much wind, what about the rain? Was there any summer storm? What made this peach to be such a delicious peach with all its properties, beauty, and deliciousness? By thinking that way, I am feeding, nurturing my mental body. And then finally, as I am chewing that peach, it's almost becoming liquid, and I cannot not swallow. So one last breath, and I swallow that peach. And I tell the cells of my body, hey guys, there's food coming. Welcome this delicious peach, this delicious fruit. Welcome it. Open yourselves to it. It brings nourishment. Of course, it will have to go through the intestines and then to go to the blood. But I can also ask the peach, would you please, you're so delicious. You're a teacher of life. Would you please teach my cells what you know from the universe? You see, if I eat an almond, a bowl of rice, if I eat a fruit or a vegetable, I'm dealing with entities that grew under the same sky, in the same latitude, longitude, but they're so different. Look between a beet and a carrot. They're even inside the earth. They each were able to attract to themselves specific elements that then made them become a carrot or a beet. And all that sugar, how did they find so much sugar if they were away from the sun? So I'm asking them to tell my body, to share with my cells, my molecules, what they know about the universe. I know there was a great spiritual master, Om Ram. He taught in France. He was from Bulgaria. He said, the food can tell your cells, can teach their own harmony to your molecules if you ask. Of course, we can eat in a mechanical way. We can eat watching TV, answering the phone, texting somebody, thinking about something else, and we don't even realize that we ate a whole salad. But we can also do it differently. We can bring our consciousness to that field of communion that nutrition is. We're not talking about how much to eat. We're not talking about what to eat. What we're talking here, this yoga of nutrition, is how we consider food. And in the act of eating, we can feed all our bodies, even our soul and spirit that will be after a gorgeous meal taken consciously. Then there are some masters, some gurus in India. They reach samadhi, this extraordinary communion with the universe. Because there's one detail. If I don't eat, what will happen? I die. Food is what connects me with my own physical body. And of course, allows for my spiritual bodies, my subtle bodies, to be here on earth, working through this matter. So, several times a day, every pregnant woman can approach the time of eating as if it were a ceremony, like being a high priestess of our own life. We are partaking communion with the universe. There are rays that science have not discovered yet, Science has not discovered some rays that cross the cosmos, and we can receive these energies. Every fruit, every vegetable. In the vegetable kingdom, they don't move, they don't go from one place to the other. Their growth is totally dedicated to distill elements from the earth and receive elements from all the surroundings, and of course, everything that is above. Some people are lucky enough to see the elves at work, the gnomes, the sylphs, the undines, the salamanders. Each food is made out of 4 elements. And the baby growing inside this pregnant mother is also having his or her body being formed, the body of 4 elements. A fruitful pregnancy will give will give way to the birth of an extraordinary baby, a work of art. Every food is a letter of love from the Creator, used to say Om. It's up to us to decipher it. But see, life is not easy for many pregnant women. They have to face challenges, difficulties, sometimes inner ones, sometimes with those around them. But they could put all those challenges aside, just the time when they are eating. Calm down, and if possible, in silence, at least once a day or once a week. I mean, it will make a difference to partake communion with the universe, asking the forces of life to work in her womb very well, bringing to the baby what the baby needs. If this woman believes in a soul, ask the soul of the baby to bring in several great elements. Nature allows us to expect a child much greater, much more capable than we are. So, as this is possible, perhaps the moment of eating will be the only time during the day where I can really enter deeply in communion with life and see perhaps in the future this child of mine as a grown up, welcoming life as I am welcoming this meal, being aware, being conscious, as I am conscious now of my gestures as I eat. You see, it is a possibility that for women to embrace, pregnant women to embrace this time of every meal. And it will give her some inner strength. Inner strength is not something that people can take away from you. We can be robbed of many things in life, but not our inner life. That one is ours. And I can bring more life to my inner life, especially if I am pregnant. I am more sensitive. I have more imagination, so I can work even better for my baby. My daily life can be difficult, but these moments where I have some food on my plate, of course, I can also be thankful to have food on my plate. I can thank my guides, my guardian angel. I can wish for others on earth to have a meal as delicious as the one I prepared for myself. And then, food by food, I can savor their flavor. I can become more sensitive to the beautiful sacrifice of this vegetable being who is now starting to partake my human adventure in the formation of a child. I can even ask the food in my mouth still, because this is where a great part where subtle digestion will take place. I can ask my food, help me. Another human being is growing in me. I am the one bringing materials. You're part of it. So let's be more harmonious. You know, we are the head of a great kingdom. a human being has between 30 to 50 trillion cells. Cells that exist in many tissues. They're different, but they all get nourished by the same blood. And as I breathe gently and deeply, as I harmonize myself, all my cells benefit from it. And of course, the food I welcome in me will be more apt, more willing to give more of itself. If I eat in a mechanical way, on automatic pilot, of course I will receive some calories. Of course, food will be there. And it's going to be great, and I will not die of hunger. But I won't be receiving more subtle energies that every food has to offer us as we prepare to welcome it, as we take it seriously. Yes, I can eat without even thinking of it. But the joy of feeling every time I am chewing that I am sending food to my baby, and the harmony of that food is going to help that baby form a whole neurophysiology, a skeleton, muscles, kidneys, eyes, and beauty. It's so important to wish for our humans, these coming generations. Let's wish them beauty, intelligence, wisdom. Let's wish them the gift of empathy, the gift of knowing how to think long term, what in psychology we talk about noble situations for our mind, situations that are away from the very present moment. We go beyond. When we wish for high ideals for all and for ourselves, food can be our best companion there. This communion with nature, this respect and admiration for the work. There's no cook that can make a fruit or even a cauliflower or a broccoli. Of course, we can cook with them. We can have wonderful salads, great meals. Even the way we touch the food in the kitchen, when we wash, when we season our food, when, especially for those of us who cook for others in the family, we can put so much love in it. And yes, every object feels, if we approach them with fear, with hatred, with bad temper, or with attention and care. No, food is alive. It does not have the life of a human or of a little child. It has a life that is going to be soon sacrificed for us to be alive. But if we respect that life, the work every single vegetable and fruit has done, and even the eggs or the cheese or the butter, they were once in an animal. They are the result of an extraordinary work. Just by acknowledging it, we can awaken in us this sense of wonder. Sense of wonder goes a long way to regulate some ketosins, some substances that will be anti-inflammatory substances that cannot be in great quantity in our body. We need some of them, yes, but when there is too much, we have a tendency to feel depressed. So it's interesting to know that our sense of wonder, it could be for a sunrise, it could be for a tree, but also for the food we have in our plate, that sense of wonder can protect us from sadness. And the days we feel discouraged, we cannot fight discouragement, but we can bring in a sense of wonder, the beauty of a leaf, the color of a fruit, the texture of a toast. Oh, the trip, the journey of wheat to come to our plate in the shape of a bread. This is fantastic. It goes through so many transformations. And there it is, giving its own flavor to us. If I am alive, if I am pregnant, carrying a life in me, and I'm conscious of the food I'm eating and the beauty of this exchange in all these realms of nature, I become wealthier, wealthier with ideas, wealthier with inner health, and I become more willing to give. I become more ready to say yes to life. And perhaps because of the calmness that comes afterwards, perhaps I'll be able to understand a little bit more who is inside of me, who is coming, what kind of life is being prepared in my womb, what kind of life will I be receiving in my home, what kind of child will I help growing into a teenager and then one day in an adult? What kind of adulthood is this soul preparing? As I bring consciousness in every bite that I'm eating, every mouthful, if I bring consciousness in that simple act of eating, I'll become more aware, more ready to listen perhaps to messages a child has to give me. You see, of all women on earth, I was chosen by this entity. Who are you, child? What are you preparing? Why do you want to come to earth? Why this father and me? What happened? How come you chose to come at this moment, this very nation, and my home? Those questions, which are the basic, very basic questions of philosophy. Where do I come from? Who am I? What am I doing here? Where am I going to? Those are the very basic questions of philosophy. I can ask every day when I am pregnant, because the being has chosen me to go further in an adventure of incarnation. So, what can I offer? I can offer who I am. But how can I be my best? Not so easy in daily life. Perhaps when I'm singing, perhaps when I am greeting life in the morning. Yes, and the times I exchange with my partner, the dreams I have for my child. But at every meal, I can offer that child my consciousness and the way I relate to life. Every mother, when she is pregnant, she relates to life in a very special way. And that way is translated into biochemistry in her blood, in her bloodstream, and every organ of the baby will be receiving those messages. So this whole dialogue, this whole conversation with the food I'm eating, with this deliciousness, as I am chewing and being aware, it's food for thought for the baby. It's food for feeling for the baby. It's food for the etheric body of the baby and for the physical body of the baby. The physical body gets nourished, of course, when we swallow. That will be the more dense part of digestion. But when a baby knows that his or her mother is aware of the intelligence of each cell of a human body, the intelligence, the memory, perhaps the love also, and the wisdom of each and every cell. Because it's a lot of work to build a body. From one single cell, we become trillion cells at the end of pregnancy. The cellular adventure of a baby in our womb is fantastic, and all of us were once that baby. So somehow we know how important it is for the baby in our womb to feel our connection with life. A true connection is a connection that will teach a long way this child. Teaching what? Teaching that connection is possible, that we're here to feel strong, that we're not alone, that we're the result of an extraordinary communion with trillions of cells. They say in cell biology that in the human body of an adult, we have at least 700 times the population of the planet. And each of these cells perform a specific activity according if they are the cell of a knee, of a tongue, of a cerebellum, of a toe. So it's worth, in this partake of communion with physical life as we eat, it is worth thinking about the majestic work our human body is doing, helping a child to grow inside of us. There was a time in the 20th century that science would only allow on genetics to explain the workings in a pregnancy. Not so anymore. Now, of course, we still have genetics, but we also have epigenetics, something that will orchestrate how genetics will manifest, which means some genes can be silenced, good ones or bad ones. Other genes can be more expressed, stressed. And there is even evidence that new genes, new combinations in that genes can come up and be part of who the child will be. Yes, a mother can improve or can worsen a generic heritage. And remember Peter Nathaniels, he was an important professor of cell biology at the University of Cornell. Peter Nathaniels is from Texas, and he used to say, a pregnant mother, I mean, anyone of them can louse up a Shakespeare. Of course, there are many ways to interpret this understanding in cell biology, but the way I chose to interpret is this mother is expecting an extraordinary being, genetically speaking, capable one day of writing whole plays with philosophical meaning and rhyming. It is fabulous. But that pregnancy is under so much stress. There's so much cortisol that the child who's born will have great difficulties learning how to read or write because the brain wasn't formed well enough to sustain an education at school that will allow them to one day write plays like Shakespeare did. So we're not here to talk about these possibilities. Unfortunately, we know them. We're here to say, okay, then even if I am a normal person, by insisting in harmony at least 3 times a day when I am eating, or then when I am showering, another moment of communion with the elements, in the case water and fire, because usually we take warm showers. And of course the soap represents the earth. We can play with those. We are eating, we are welcoming into our bodies extraordinary substances from nature. And the way we welcome these foods will give a certain level, a certain lightness, a certain joy to our pregnancy, and it will go directly to the cell biology of the embryo, of the fetus that is growing inside. This is a moment of freedom that I recommend for all pregnant women, this moment of conscious eating. And of course, there can be conscious breathing, and there can be gestures that are conscious when we're washing the vegetables, cutting them, slicing them, peeling them, even the way we touch our pans in the kitchen to make a soup or some pasta. The food can be so simple, but we can contribute with who we are for the preparation of this meal and the way we eat. We can contribute to much health in our baby. And I'm talking of a long-lasting health. We're talking about the making of the physical organs, of the noble organs, the vital organs that we will need to keep till the 90s. It's possible. I speak of that with enthusiasm because, you see, I had the privilege to eat that way when I was pregnant. I had a beautiful pregnancy, but I felt so proud to be part of nature. Nature was working through me, building the body of a human being, a little baby, and I was bringing my best to that body. And it was a privileged moment. So I wish all of you to be inspired and go from where I spoke, go for your own reality and transform my words into something that is meaningful to you and will help you to partake communion with the food you eat several times a day throughout your pregnancy. I wish you all the best, and especially a great adulthood to the children you're expecting. Thank you.